Ancient technologies, commons. So I'm just watching a video of Lost Mayan Atlantis was discovered or some stuff, a podcast with a guy named Luke Camerons, and he mentioned something about like walking through, like a forest, like the Amazon rainforest, for example, and how there's like deadly snakes and stuff like that, and how did ancient humans walk, especially if they're walking barefoot, through these jungles and not get bitten by snakes and die, right? How did they deal with stuff like rabies and things of that nature? So he was mentioning. So I was just thinking like the idea that most people don't consider like whenever somebody sees like in this video you see like there's depictions of what people are wearing. They got these very elaborate headdresses, right? And they carry like some weird objects that they looks like they just made some arts and crafts type stuff in their hands, right? And so you see like they just like have stuff where it's like okay, they make random stuff and you look at it as random. You look at it as like, oh, they just made stuff. They just made a staff that looks cool and everything's like all aesthetic. It's like all ritualistic. It's all part of their belief system, so forth and so forth. So in other words, it's just making it less uh, like they're more for aesthetics, less for function. So it's just, oh, a cool stick just because it looks cool. Not that it has any functions. Not that it's used for anything other than just looking cool, like a status symbol, right? Like they're just flossing. It's like it's a fashion statement. And for me, I know a lot of it is not true, because even our quote unquote items that we wear for fashion is not really fashion. There is actually function to it, or at least if we do wear something because it looks cool and it's fashionable, it will have some type of function. Like for example, most people look at having an iPhone as a fashionable statement. Like, oh, I have an iPhone. Me walking around with an iPhone makes me look cool, but the iPhone actually has technology. The iPhone is technology, but most people buy iPhones, specifically iPhones, because they want to look cool. Because if they really want a good phone, they'll get an Android like the rest of us, right? But they get an iPhone because it looks cool. But we know that iPhone still takes pictures and still do things. It's still technology, right? An iWatch, a fitness tracker. These are things you can wear that looks fashionable, but they have a purpose. Just like when women start wearing yoga pants. Well, it's something you're supposed to wear when you're doing yoga, right? When you're doing fitness, but you could just wear it as fashion. And women started wearing yoga pants more as fashion, right? But there was a legitimate purpose. It was designed for functionality. It was designed for doing yoga, right? Just like wearing just like some people wear headphones like it's fashion, but it's so you can hear things. And the list goes on. We do things with technology for fashion's sake, but it actually has a function. So why would we think ancient humans didn't think the same thing? Like, oh, this this bow and arrow, I could wear it as fashion. I could wear it and make it look cool, like a necklace or something, or it could be used so I can hunt, right? They could take a bow and arrow and turn it into jewelry, or they can use it as a hunting weapon. So to assume that everything we see in the ancient times is just for fashion, is just for, you know, just because it was something cool when they were bored and they just took some sticks and feathers and just randomly made something, there could actually be a purpose behind it. And for me, it's technology. So back to what I originally started off talking about was if you're walking through the forest and whatnot, and there's like snakes and animals that could kill you, how will you survive? How will you protect yourself? Yes, you could create shields and weapons and stuff like that. And we know ancient humans had shields and weapons, right? They had spears and swords and bows and arrows, and they made shields out of wood and other materials and fabric and whatever. They made stuff. So we don't Mayans, right? They had weapons and stuff, right? They made stuff, but they also had jewelry and whatnot, and they had instruments. What if the instruments was to scare off animals? Like a flute would be used to scare off to scare off animals like a tiger or something, right? What if they, because the ancient humans had rattles, right? They made like rattle. Uh, um, what if the rattles was to make it sound like make you sound like you're a rattlesnake? So hopefully, if there is a rattlesnake around, it doesn't see you as a threat. It sees you as a friend because it hears the rattle, or maybe the sound of the rattle will scare off animals. Just like, oh, I don't want to be bitten by a rattlesnake, so let me run away from the rattling noise. Like these are the things I mean, if you're if you use your brain like I do, these are the things you would think about. Like, why did ancient humans have rattles? You can say, oh, it's just so it can make music and for entertainment and for ritualistic reasons, or it was so they can sound like a rattlesnake to scare some animals off, so that way those animals don't kill them because they want to survive. Surviving is more important than, you know, than having fun, than dancing to noise. Surviving is more important than that. And to assume that ancient humans cared more about having fun than surviving into old age, you know, it's very ignorant. It's a very modern way of thinking. And I don't like, you know, when I think about the past, I think of myself as a modern person who went back in time, and what I would do if I was in the past. And I would try to think like a person in the past. Is like, well, I went from the future, which everything was easy. Now I'm in the past where things are hard and everything in the planet is trying to kill me. Nature's trying to kill me. I need a way to survive. So I gotta think, what can I create that can help me survive? Because I can't survive just being human. I gotta survive with technology. So I had to create technology. So I had to think, well, humans in the past, that's their life. They had to survive. So they had to create technology. It'll be hard for humans to survive without technology, right? If a rattlesnake, if a venomous snake bit you, you were dead. That's it. So how would ancient humans have reduced that? They had to figure out a way to make it hard to make it where you wouldn't get bit. They had to find a way that if you did get bit, they could save your life. Yes, maybe they'll just cut your leg off, you know, and burn the end of your stubble, right? And that's how you survive. So then you end up with one leg, and then they give you a stick, a nice cool looking stick with feathers on it, and then you walk with that stick because you lost a leg because you got bit by a venomous snake. And that's why they made staffs, right? They made staffs so you can walk for the people who lost literally legs. And the list goes on, right? It's like there has to be a reason for it other than they believed in gods, and that's why they made these rattles and these instruments so they can speak to the gods. Is like, yeah, that could be true, or they could be like us